MetaConnect was a big event that happened. I don't know if it was last week or this. It was recent, and Zuckster was up there talking about the latest developments and all the things that they're doing. And honestly, Meta is, I think, one of the most undervalued AI players in the space. Um, Everybody's talking about OpenAI and Anthropic and Gemini and all these other things. Llama does not get the credit that I think it should. It is an impressive model. It is impressive what they're able to do, and seeing its capability at MetaConnect was really impressive, to say the least. If you haven't seen some of the highlights, I'd encourage you to do that. But one of the things related to my previous point is the Zuckster is betting big on AI voice. He is very clear that he sees that being the future of how we interact with AI. I think it's going to take up a much larger market share of our interaction with AI. I don't know that I'm quite to the point he's at. Maybe in the distant future. I just know people's behavioral tendencies. And while like a Zuckerberg, that may be totally cool and normal for him, I still know a lot of people where the idea of talking to AI is still a bit uncomfortable, and they wouldn't necessarily consciously or cognitively choose to do it. But the way the tech's going, it's definitely possible. Now, there were some pretty cool things that they're doing with AI voice that was really impressive. One, just from a content creator space, that's really interesting, is they're pairing multiple AI things together for translation purposes, which is pretty neat. So, in theory, not in theory, now in practice, I could record this as is. And then if I wanted to make a version of this that's in Spanish, Chinese, French, Italian, Latin, Aramaic, like whatever, I could do it. And it would not only take my voice, make me speak perfect, language in that voice, translate it, but it would also change my lips and face so that I'm actually speaking in that, or at least giving the appearance of speaking in that voice, which I think is pretty powerful in terms of as we think about content accessibility, things like that. I also see it contributing to a lot of noise, and it's going to make really powerful, good information go further. It's also going to make really powerful, bad, destructive information go further. So, again, do I see it as good or bad? I think it's a powerful capability that's going to be in all of our hands very soon. And I think that can be helpful as we look at content, because I can tell you, having worked in big global organizations, translation and accessibility for folks in different countries and languages is extremely time consuming and costly. So the fact that we can do this on the fly now, of course, the example they used at MetaConnect was like, an influencer doing a cooking show, they got their cooking clip can be in 37 different languages. I don't necessarily know if that's really the most valuable use of this kind of stuff, but kind of cool, kind of catchy. And hey, if you can do it, I guess why not? I've got my reasons why you may not want to. But anyway, that said, he's also, like I said, he's betting big on the AI voice. And he, it was impressive what they did. So their AI voice was on par or close with OpenAI's advanced voice mode, which they've been hinting at for a long time. They've been saying, we got this, we can do all this. And then Zuckster comes out of nowhere and is like, boom, hey, check it out. You can interact with our AI voice in real time using any of our stuff. And one of the things that was pretty cool about it, and it doesn't surprise me, Meta got away with this, OpenAI didn't. Meta actually struck deals with big names for their voices. So, like one of the ones the kids and I are big fans of is Aquafina. Aquafina's got an amazing voice. It's a familiar, and it's something, we all would be, you hear it and you're like, oh, sweet. And you can talk to that voice and it sounds like that voice. Now, what I don't know, and I think this is where I get a little leery when I see this, is does it actually bring with it the personality, or is it just their voice? And I guess if you're a stage actor, having your voice used as just kind of a front for anything could feel very harmless. I will say people's voice and likenesses suddenly being attached to AI voice it does make me a little bit nervous. And as I was watching MetaConnect, from the stage, it's all fun and it's all, who won't this be cool? Like now you can talk to Aquafina and it's no big deal and she'll engage in a conversation with you. But if it's not really Aquafina, I already had hesitations around AI likenesses of people and have warned people, hey, be careful. You create, because I had somebody who learned the hard way, the very hard way. They made an AI likeness of themselves and sold it. You could subscribe to it so that you could get advice from them. And it went sideways quick. I shared stories of this happening with some influencer stuff. And so I think there's already some dangers. And that's if it's trained on that person's data and personality and likeness. Now you're slapping somebody's voice on basically anything. I I think we're going to see some problems with this. My prediction is we're going to see some problems with this. And of course, that's not what's being said from the stage. Probably for the same reason when Facebook launched, the like button was seen as this universally positive thing. Isn't it going to be great now when you share content, people can like it? Come to find out decades later, it's leading to depression and social anxiety and all these other things like, oh, wow, we never considered that. So as I was watching this AI voice of look at all these people now you can make your AI become, what could it's all fun and games. I will say part of me went, I think that there's going to be some serious repercussions with this. So to the same concern that I shared before, please folks, as you start interacting with voice more, be really careful because you may not even realize that you're starting to develop an emotional dependency or emotional bond with this. And now with these voices having actual familiar faces and names, like Aquafina, you think you're talking to Aquafina, you've watched enough kid movies or whatever, you may actually have in your head who you're talking to, and now you're engaging with them. It's only going to exacerbate the risk of emotional dependency. So just be careful. The other one that, again, I was like watching going, cool. Oh, but this feels like another one that we're going to see some long term repercussions is their image modification capability was banger. Like it was impressive what they were doing with like, hey, here's a picture of me. Look, I want to change my outfit. I want to be in a different setting. I want to do all this stuff. We can do it in an instant with near perfection. And of course, at MetaConnect, it's going to be framed as all entertainment. It's all going to be wonderful. It's going to be so much fun and games. And what could possibly go wrong with this? And I see us moving into an age already where we don't even know what we believe anymore because is what we see even real? But I think about the impact that can have on us when we start modifying our own realities to be a little more like what we wish it had been instead of what it really was. And how does that affect us? If we take all our family vacation photos and go, you know what? I like these photos, but now we're not just like tweaking the hue and the contrast and maybe brightening the colors. Now we're actually physically modifying our memories with AI so that when we look back at the picture 10 years from now, we don't really remember if what we're looking at is what actually happened and the actual outfit we wore or the actual environment where we were in, or was that the AI version that we wish it had been? And how does that affect us? And one of the things that's happening right now that I see this playing out in unhealthy ways is, I mean, Hurricane Helene has been just catastrophic. And if you haven't been following that, like, just take a look at the damage that it's had unexpectedly. Like some of the least damage is on the coast and it's like annihilated other parts of the US. And one of the things, there's this rising trend of people wanting to make their images of it more clickbaity. And so they're adding animals into the pictures, stuck on the roof, and they're adding people suffering, looking. And it's like, we're taking a tragic event and hyping it up to intensify it for more clicks and like this kind of stuff is going to have a dramatic effect on society. And so we're seeing this on a macro level already with deep fake stuff. But now we're seeing the tech start to personalize this to the point where, hey, didn't like that vacation? It was rainy when you were there that day. Screw your memories. Let's just reimagine them so that the memories you look back on can be how you wish it had been. And I think I see the temptation. Life is hard. It doesn't always go according to plan, but in some ways, that's what makes it beautiful. And I think what AI is promising is saying, well, why live in that world? Why not just live in the world you wish it could be? And I think that's a world that sounds good on paper, but it's going to have real consequences for us in the long run. So I'll talk more about each of those as I see more examples of this start to come up. But that's my early prediction on those things. So hold me accountable. Let's see what happens.